Hello and welcome to this auto action Clip Studio Paint tutorial, and today we're gonna be going over how to use my autofill function for Clip Studio Paint. And if you're curious what it does, it's basically just press one button and fill in your cleanup drawings for you. And I'm going over how to use it and the limitations and setups and things like that. Okay, first off, we'll start by making a new canvas. And for this auto action to work properly, I recommend using this Genga template that I will link below along with the auto action. And it should have this little cat icon emotes with a cowboy hat. Okay, let's start. So, first off, the templates you're going to have to use can be downloaded off of the store, the asset store, and it should show up in the material panel here, along with the downloads here. And to use it, you will have to go to Story, change project setting, tick cell template, and find the downloaded material in the downloaded material tag here. Once you have it, click OK, and that should work. Now, for when you make a new frame here on your animation, let's call this egg. You make a new frame, you should have this in your animation cell window. To find your animation cell window, go to Window, Animation Cell. If you have that tick, it should pop up like so. And in the animation cell, you will have line art layer, which is set to be black, shadows, highlight, and dummy. Now it's important that you have all these in your layer and they all remain the same name. So let's go over how to draw. Okay, so first off, you can draw in the dummy layer, and this can be used as a rough layer. You can change the opacity of the layer, you can lock it, you can hide it. This won't affect the autofill function. So let's say I draw a circle here. I can always turn down the opacity or lock it, and it wouldn't affect the autofill function. However, the main part is the line art, shadow, and highlight. This is the drawing that the autofill will use to color in your drawing. So let's say I have a circle rough here. I'm going to turn down the opacity, go to the line art layer, and clean up this circle like so. And I can add a little eye here as well. Now, next, for the shadows, I want to add the shadow to this circle face with eyes sort of thing. To do so, I'll need to draw where I want the shadow to appear, and then I'll draw outside that shape and then close it to the other side to make sure all of the shadow lines are connected together. Next, let's do the highlights. I'm going to draw a circle again, close it off as just one big circle shapes here. Okay, now that we're done, all we have to do is press the autofill button, and there you have it. So it comes with the highlight that is filled in with yellow, and the shadows that's filled in with blue. Now you can hide this shadow lines that you've drawn before, and it's looking a lot better now. Let's go over the do's and don'ts and the limitations of this auto action. So first off, let's make a new frame. Let's say I clean up another circle and I draw some eyes. Now I'm going to delete, have a gap here, and draw the shadows as normal, and the highlights as normal. Now if I press the auto action, auto fill here, it kinda colors it, but not as good as you would expect. Like say the shadow doesn't work here. So why does this happen? Well, that's because the functions uses something called advanced fill, and the gaps closes are too small to close this gap. So if your gaps are too big, make sure to close it up so that it can function properly. And then press it again, and it should work like so. You can leave a tiny bit of a gap like here, and that should still work fine. Okay, so what you can't do is draw another one here. Draw the eyes again. Well, if I draw the shadows like this and highlights like this, you see in comparison it's the circle shapes going over and outside the main circle here. This will not work if I press the autofill. It just won't color it for you. So make sure to close up all of your lines like so, and like this. If I press it again, it should autofill again. Now, as I said before in the beginning of the tutorial, you will have to keep the dummy highlight, shadows and line art name exactly the same, and in the exact same order as well for it to work properly. So please make sure to keep them in the same place with the same name. Now let's say you've filled in your drawings here with the highlights and shadows and base color. You're already committed to it, but you spotted a mistake and you don't want it anymore. If you try to Control C it, it will go through a bunch of steps before it gets back to where you started before, and that's a lot of hassle. So what I recommend you would do is to highlight shadow and just delete all these new layers here. Delete it and then fix your mistakes in the line art and the shadows and the highlights before you press it again with autofill like so. Okay, so this function only works on one frame at a time, as you can probably tell, and I set it to be this way because I think it is better if you check over the fill, because it doesn't always work as you intended. So say I have 2 drawings here, 2 frames. It will only work on 1 frame at a time. Say autofill, and this one as well. And this will still work even if you don't have the shadow or the highlights drawn. It will simply fill in your drawings for you with white so that it can be in the background. You don't have to have shadows line or highlights for every frame for it to work properly. You can have just the highlight by itself, or just the shadow by itself. Turn it back on, and it should still work like so. 1 frame at a time. Yes. Okay. Now one more thing is screen border. Yes. Now the autofill will not work if you want to fill, say, this, but and use the screen border as the edge, you will have to close it off like so for it to function properly. Press autofill and it should fill it in for you. Now if I have it like this, try to autofill, it will not work, so just keep that in mind. Now for these layers, I've made it so that the layer properties will make sure that the lines are certain colors. So in my line art layer, if I try to draw with blue, it will still come out as black, and as well as the shadows, try to draw with black, it will come out as blue. Same goes with the highlight, black is always red, no matter what color you use. Okay, so I'm going to go over how this auto action actually works. So how it works is, first I'm going to draw the same face again, drawing the shadows here, and highlights. So first off, I'm going to go over the auto action process here. Just gonna switch it off, and you can see the process in the auto action right here, and you can tweak it however you like. So first off, it will find the layer called dummy and change it to that layer. Then it will make a new raster layer, change the name of it to called base color, then change the layer color to white in the layers properties here, and then it will use the line art as reference. Going back to the base color, you go to edit, advanced fill, and this is where most of the magic happens. It will fill the layer with the color black, completely black, and reference color, exclude the paper, and you can press OK. It will fill this black line enclosed area out with white color, and it will go again, make a new layer and clip to the layer below, make the color of the layer blue, and this time use the shadow, the layer called shadow, as a reference layer. Change this to shadow, and then it will use this once filled again to fill it up with black. Press OK, and now the shadows without the clipping, this is what it looks like, but with the clip layer, with it clipped to the layer below called base color, it shall fill in properly like so. And same goes for the highlights. Next new layer, go to reference layer, click to the layer below, change the layer to highlight, go to advanced fill it with black, change the color to yellow like so. And that's basically how this auto action works. So now you can probably tell why you have to close it off, because it will only fill enclosed area, and why it doesn't work with image border, because the setting of the advanced fill says doesn't refer to image border. Okay, that's basically how it works. So I'll go over one more drawings as an example. Okay, I'm going to go to dummy layer in my animation cell. I'm gonna draw my rough. Say, I'm going to draw a really stupid dog. Like so. I can color in the eyes with black if I want to, it doesn't matter. Okay, then I have to change to the line art layer, so I'll lower the opacity of my rough, clean it up in the line art layer, like so. You can draw better than this, obviously. I'm just trying to do a quick drawing to show you how to use this. So I can draw a circle. I can fill in this part with black if I want to, it doesn't matter. Then I'm going to hide my dummy layer. Gonna fill in the shadows a little bit, just like this. And if you have a shape like this that you want to shadow in, it's better to draw along the line of your line art and then close it off at the other end like so. And for elements, if you know that this part is not gonna be filled in, you can draw outside of it, and that should work just as well. Okay, make sure all your shapes are closed off. Now with the highlights, I'll add a little nose shine, and then I'm done and ready to press my auto action. So I press play, autofill, and it should work just like that. Okay, that's the end of the tutorial. Thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a comment on any questions, any concerns. If you're having problems how to use it, how to import the auto action, should be as easy as drag and drop from the material panels here. And that's it. See you.